So what would happen is we would try and win a client, and that would probably involve doing some tender and bid work, gaining sort of information, doing research on the client, networking with them in order to try and win the business in the first place. Once we've won the business, then we have to set out our terms of engagement. So we would draft an engagement letter and agree a fee with them. But within that process, we have to kind of do some background checks on the client to ensure that there's no risk of money laundering. So we have these specific forms we have to fill in to make sure that we're happy that the client is who they say they are and there isn't any sort of underlying issues that could affect the work that we're doing. So we sort of do those. The client would then sign their engagement letter. Once that's done, then we can start proceeding with the work that we need to do. So audit-wise, we would schedule a time that's suitable with the client when we could go out on site. We would request that they prepare certain documents ready for our review and have certain people in their team accessible to us when we're out there. So once we sort of decided when we're going to do it, we'll have an internal planning meeting with the team. We will then, during that planning meeting, we have to discuss about potential fraud risks at the client, and then we'll document all that in our file. Then the team will go out to the client site, perform the specific audit procedures that we need to do, so testing all the balances and testing the income statement, and then once that's done, the manager will then review the work, raise review points where they think that they need to go back and do some more work or clarify specific situations. And then the partner will go and review it once all the manager's review notes have been addressed. When the partner is happy that the file is complete, we'll get a copy of the client's draft statutory accounts. Sometimes the client will draft them, sometimes we'll draft them, depending on how good the client is. And then we will go about sort of tying in the statutory accounts to the work that we performed. We'll review the accounts, make sure that there's no obvious errors, make sure they're in compliance with our UK GAAP or international GAAP or whatever, which is our accounting regulations. And then it has to go through a quality review process. Everything that we sort of submit to the client or is available publicly has to go through what we call a quality review to ensure that we're being consistent with the way that we produce, the work that we're doing. So it will go to someone completely independent of the project. Might be someone in another office. They'll review specific documents that have to be reviewed depending on the nature of the engagement. They'll raise further review points, which we then have to clear. Once they're happy that we've addressed them all, they'll sign off, and then the accounts will be able to be signed by us and the client. So we'll get the accounts signed, and then they'll normally be filed with Companies House. The tax guys will basically help us in auditing the tax, or in some engagements, the tax guys will prepare for our client their tax figures, because it's quite a complex area, and therefore sometimes the client doesn't have the expertise, and therefore our tax department will help the client prepare their tax numbers and do their annual tax returns to the government, that sort of thing. So generally what happens when you have an audit, you'll have a tax manager assigned as well. We'll discuss timings, schedules, that sort of thing, and they'll provide us with a sort of final memo to say that they're happy with the tax numbers, basically. So.